For centuries, the Bermuda Triangle had been a place of mystery and terror. Countless ships and aircrafts vanished without a trace, leaving no evidence behind except for ghostly whispers in the winds. People spoke of it in hushed tones, some calling it a vortex to another dimension, others claiming it was the result of some supernatural force. Yet, despite the numerous theories, no one had ever truly solved the mystery, until now. A team of scientists, armed with the most advanced technology, embarked on an expedition like no other. Their mission was simple: uncover the truth behind the disappearances and put the Bermuda Triangle's reign of fear to rest. What they didn't know was that they were about to awaken something far more terrifying than they ever imagined. The expedition began in the calmest of seas, a bright sunny day with a cool breeze. But as they entered the heart of the Bermuda Triangle, the weather shifted. The once calm waves grew turbulent, and a thick fog enveloped their ship. Unseen forces began pulling them deeper into the water, as if the ocean itself was alive and aware of their presence. The team's sophisticated equipment started malfunctioning one by one, as if being controlled by some unseen hand. As the night fell, strange noises echoed through the ship, distant, eerie cries that seemed to come from beneath the surface. Then, the team made their first discovery, a submerged structure unlike anything they had ever seen. The ancient ruins, covered in seaweed and coral, hinted at a lost civilization. But what was most unsettling were the markings, strange symbols etched into the stone, symbols that seemed to shift and change depending on where they were viewed from. The team ventured deeper into the ruins, their flashlights illuminating the unknown. But something was wrong. As they explored the labyrinthine corridors, they began to see figures, shadowy, indistinct shapes that followed them wherever they went. The temperature dropped dramatically, and the walls seemed to close in around them. It was as though they were not alone in the depths of the Bermuda Triangle. Then came the discovery that shook them to their core, a massive, glowing artifact, pulsating with an energy unlike any known to mankind. The moment they touched it, the world around them seemed to fracture. Time and space bent in impossible ways. They were no longer on the ship, they were somewhere else, a place that was neither part of the world they knew nor a different dimension. It was a place where the rules of reality didn't apply. Suddenly, a voice, ancient and powerful, echoed in their minds. You were never meant to solve the mystery. Some things are better left undisturbed. And then, in a flash, everything went dark. The expedition's ship was found days later, adrift and abandoned, with no sign of the crew. But the Bermuda Triangle's hold on the world had not loosened. The mystery had not been solved, it had merely shifted, taking with it those who dared to uncover the truth. The question remained, what had they awakened beneath the waves? And was the Bermuda Triangle truly a place of supernatural mystery, or was it something far more terrifying? Days passed after the mysterious disappearance of the scientific expedition, but the Bermuda Triangle was still as eerie and incomprehensible as ever. News outlets around the world speculated about the crew's fate, but the truth remained elusive. The eerie silence of the triangle seemed to mock the desperate questions raised by the survivors' families and the scientific community. But as the days turned into weeks, something began to change. Reports of strange phenomena began to surface, not just from the Bermuda Triangle, but from other places across the globe. Pilots reported disorienting flashes of light in the sky, followed by sudden drops in altitude, their instruments malfunctioning in inexplicable ways. Ships navigated far off course, as if some unseen force had guided them. And perhaps most chilling of all, there were whispers from the families of the vanished expedition members. They claimed to hear their loved ones calling out to them, their voices faint, echoing through the winds. It wasn't long before a second expedition, led by an ambitious journalist named Sarah Matthews, was organized. Sarah had been obsessed with the Bermuda Triangle since her childhood, fascinated by the eerie allure it held. She had written countless articles, some of which had been praised, others that had earned ridicule. But with the disappearance of the first expedition, she felt something had shifted. She had uncovered strange links between the Bermuda Triangle and ancient civilizations, including Atlantis. There was a theory floating around that the lost city wasn't lost at all, but buried deep beneath the waves, its dark secret waiting to be discovered. Sarah's team set sail on a ship equipped with the latest technology, a vessel designed to withstand the most extreme conditions. They were going to find out what the first team had uncovered and, more importantly, they were going to finish what had been started. The team included a seasoned archaeologist, Dr. Thomas Hale, a marine biologist, Dr. Leah Rodriguez, and a tech expert, Simon Cray. Each of them had their reasons for wanting to uncover the truth, but none of them truly understood what they were about to face. They arrived in the Bermuda Triangle on a clear, calm morning. The sea was still, as if in anticipation of what was to come. The air was thick with a strange tension. Sarah stood at the bow of the ship, staring into the horizon, her mind racing with possibilities. "We'll find answers here," she whispered to herself, though she wasn't sure if she believed it. As the team delved deeper into the triangle's heart, the ocean grew unnervingly silent. The usual hum of the ship's engines seemed to fade, leaving only the eerie stillness of the water. It wasn't long before Dr. Hale suggested they deploy the underwater drone to explore the area where the first team had disappeared. As the drone descended into the depths, the atmosphere shifted again. The air grew heavy, almost oppressive, and the crew could feel it, the weight of something ancient and alive below. Through the drone's camera, they saw it. The ruins, vast and sprawling, stretching far beyond the limits of what they had expected. But there was something else now, something new. A structure, tall and angular, stood at the center of the ruins, glowing faintly in the dark depths. It looked like a pyramid, but unlike anything from known history. The ancient markings were still there, etched into the stone, but now they pulsed with an eerie light. "We need to investigate that structure," Sarah said, her voice barely audible over the tension that seemed to rise in the air. They lowered a submersible to explore the site in person. As they descended, Dr. Hale couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The cold, foreboding water surrounded them, pressing in from all sides. The pyramid-like structure grew larger as they approached it, and the faint glow intensified. "We need to get a sample from that surface," Simon said, his voice tinged with awe and fear. They carefully maneuvered the submersible into position. But as they attempted to approach the glowing structure, something unexpected happened. The water around them began to churn violently, as if an unseen force was awakening from beneath. The temperature plummeted, and the lights on the submersible flickered. A low, grinding sound echoed from the depths, sending shivers down the crew's spines. "Get us out of here," Sarah ordered, her voice shaking. The submersible jerked violently as the crew scrambled to control it. The pyramid-like structure seemed to be alive, shifting and changing in ways that defied logic. The very water around them seemed to pulse with energy. And then, as suddenly as it had started, the turbulence stopped. The submersible surfaced, and the team rushed back to the main ship, their faces pale, their minds reeling from what they had just experienced. As they gathered on deck, the sky above them darkened, casting an ominous shadow over the waters. "We need to leave," Dr. Hale said, his voice strained. "We've stirred something up that shouldn't be disturbed." But it was too late. The Bermuda Triangle was no longer a place of mere mystery. It was a portal, a gateway to something far darker and more ancient than any of them had anticipated. The ship's radar began to malfunction. The engine sputtered and died. And then, as the team looked out across the water, they saw it, the figures. Shadowy, indistinct forms rising from the depths, walking across the water toward them. Their faces were obscured, but there was something hauntingly familiar about their movements, as if they had been watching for millennia, waiting for someone to awaken them. "What are they?" Leah gasped, her voice trembling. "They're the lost," Simon whispered. "The ones who vanished into the triangle. They've been waiting." The crew realized, with a horrifying clarity, that they had uncovered something far worse than they had ever imagined. The Bermuda Triangle wasn't just a place where ships and planes disappeared. It was a place where time and reality themselves had been altered. The lost souls of the vanished had been trapped in some kind of limbo, and now they were free. But freedom came with a cost. The figures began to move closer, their bodies shimmering and distorting, their shapes blurring with each passing moment. The crew could hear whispers, faint voices calling out from the deep. "Join us," they whispered. "Become one with us." And then, as if in a final, tragic embrace, the Bermuda Triangle claimed them all. The ship vanished, just like all the others before it. And once again, the sea fell silent. But the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle was not over. It had only just begun. It's said that the Bermuda Triangle's grip on the world is never truly loosened. No matter how many ships are lost, no matter how many lives are claimed, it never seems to end. Even as the waters calm, the winds whisper. Some would say that the vanished crew members of Sarah's expedition, and the countless others before them, never truly left. They were merely absorbed into something much older, much darker, and far more powerful than anyone could have ever anticipated. In the weeks following the disappearance of Sarah Matthews and her team, the world's fascination with the Bermuda Triangle deepened. Conspiracy theorists and scientists alike attempted to piece together what had happened. For the most part, the authorities declared the case closed, blaming the usual suspects: equipment failure, navigational errors, freak weather. But there were a few who knew the truth, or at least suspected it. Dr. Thomas Hale, the archaeologist, had left behind his journals, pages filled with symbols, diagrams, and sketches of the ruins. They were brought to the public's attention, but one page was missing. A crucial page that might have held the answers to the mystery. It was said to be covered in strange symbols, symbols that seemed to match the markings found at the pyramid-like structure in the depths of the triangle. But the pages didn't stay secret for long. A young woman named Lily Harper, a researcher fascinated by ancient cultures and their hidden secrets, stumbled upon the missing page while going through Dr. Hale's personal belongings. She had been studying his work for years and believed there was something more to the Bermuda Triangle than most believed. She had no idea, however, just how deeply this discovery would drag her into the heart of the mystery. Lily's research led her to a chilling realization: the Bermuda Triangle was not a random anomaly in the world's oceans. It was the site of an ancient portal, a gateway not just to the depths of the earth, but to another realm entirely. A place where time and space had no meaning, a place where the lost could roam for eternity. It was a prison for the souls of the vanished. And it was not simply an accident. The Bermuda Triangle had been created on purpose. Lily discovered that the ancient civilization responsible for the Bermuda Triangle's existence, a lost race of beings known only as the Watchers, had created the portal to bind their most dangerous and powerful creations. These beings had learned to control the fabric of reality, bending time, space, and even the laws of nature itself. The Bermuda Triangle was not just a cursed place, but a prison for those who had abused these powers. However, over time, the Watchers' civilization had crumbled. They had vanished without a trace, leaving their dark creations behind. The portal they had constructed, meant to imprison these entities, had grown unstable with the passing centuries. That instability was the cause of the strange disappearances. The Bermuda Triangle wasn't just pulling ships and planes into its depths, it was also beginning to pull people from different points in time, linking them with the souls of those who had perished within its grasp. As Lily delved deeper into her research, the pattern became undeniable. The Bermuda Triangle was more than just a place of random disappearances. It was a sentient being, aware of anyone who dared to uncover its secrets, punishing them by trapping their souls in a never-ending loop of torment. Determined to uncover the truth, Lily decided to follow in Sarah Matthews' footsteps, leading an expedition into the heart of the Bermuda Triangle. Armed with everything she had learned, Lily hoped to find the original structure from Dr. Hale's notes, the glowing pyramid that had been the source of so much terror. If she could find it, perhaps she could stop the curse that had plagued the triangle for centuries. The journey was perilous from the very start. The closer they got to the coordinates, the more the air seemed to thicken with an oppressive energy. The sea grew restless, waves crashing violently against the ship as if warning them to turn back. But Lily pressed on, her mind set on the answers she believed were hidden beneath the surface. And then, they found it. The pyramid-like structure rose from the depths like a jagged tooth, glowing faintly as it had in the footage captured by Sarah's team. It was even larger than they had anticipated, its surface covered in strange carvings that seemed to shift and change with every passing second. It pulsed with an energy that felt alive, a heartbeat resonating from deep within the stone. "We need to approach carefully," Lily said, her voice barely above a whisper. "We don't know what we'll find down there." The team prepared to dive. As they descended into the dark depths, a strange sensation washed over them, as if the very water had become thick with a malevolent presence. The temperature dropped sharply, the lights on their suits flickering. Shadows seemed to move in the periphery of their vision, and the faintest whisper echoed in their minds, like the distant murmurs of forgotten voices. When they reached the pyramid, something strange happened. The pyramid's surface seemed to respond to their presence, the symbol shifting rapidly as though it were awakening. A deep rumbling emanated from within the structure, and the water around them began to churn violently. "We need to get out of here, now," one of the crew members shouted, panic creeping into their voice. But it was too late. The pyramid's glow intensified, blinding them with a brilliant flash of light. In that moment, the world around them seemed to warp. Time fractured, reality bent, and the water seemed to boil. The crew members felt themselves being pulled, dragged toward the pyramid's surface. And then, just as quickly as it had begun, everything stopped. Lily opened her eyes, her breath coming in shallow gasps. She was no longer in the submersible. Instead, she was standing on solid ground, surrounded by thick fog. Her heart raced as she tried to make sense of her surroundings. The air was cold and damp, the ground beneath her feet felt ancient, as if it had not been touched by the outside world in millennia. "What is this place?" Lily whispered to herself. As she took a tentative step forward, the ground beneath her shifted. Figures began to emerge from the mist, shadowy forms, humanoid yet not quite human. Their eyes glowed with a faint, unnatural light, and their mouths moved as if whispering words she couldn't understand. But one of them stepped forward, its presence somehow familiar. "Lily Harper," the figure said in a voice that seemed to echo from both the past and the future. "You have come to face the truth." And in that moment, Lily realized she had stepped into the heart of the Bermuda Triangle's curse. She was no longer just an observer of the mystery. She had become part of it. And the price for discovering the truth was her soul. Lily stood frozen, her mind reeling with the enormity of the revelation. She had crossed the threshold of the Bermuda Triangle's curse and now found herself trapped in a place beyond time, a place where reality was fluid and the laws of nature no longer applied. The shadowy figures that emerged from the mist moved toward her, their eyes glowing with an eerie light, their whispers growing louder in her mind. "Welcome," the figure before her said, its voice impossibly ancient, resonating with a deep, unsettling power. "You sought the truth. Now you must understand the cost of knowing it." Lily's heart raced. She tried to speak, but her words seemed to get lost in the heavy fog that surrounded her. The figure reached out, and as its hand brushed against her arm, an electric shock coursed through her body, sending waves of cold through her veins. "Do you know what you've awoken?" the figure continued. The Bermuda Triangle was never just a place of mystery. It was built to contain the greatest of our creations, beings who could bend reality, who could control time, life, and death. But they were too powerful. They were sealed away here, in this place where nothing can escape, where nothing can change. Until you. Lily's mind spun. "I didn't mean to," she began, but the figure interrupted. "You couldn't have known. But now you are part of it. You, too, will be bound here. The triangle will claim you, as it has claimed countless others." The words hit Lily like a blow, and she stumbled backward. Panic gripped her chest. "No! I won't stay here," she shouted, but the fog only thickened, and the figures closed in around her. She felt the oppressive weight of their presence, like an inescapable force pushing her deeper into this limbo. As the mist began to swirl, the ground beneath her feet gave way, and Lily was falling into an endless, black void. She screamed, but her voice was swallowed by the darkness. Then, suddenly, there was light. Blinding light. And then, just as abruptly, everything went silent. Lily felt a strange sensation of weightlessness, as though she was floating. She opened her eyes, only to see the familiar sight of the Bermuda Triangle, its restless waters, the fog rolling in, and the silhouette of her research vessel, abandoned adrift on the surface. But something was different now. She wasn't alone. The figures from the mist had followed her, hovering just beyond her sight. They were there, watching her with those glowing eyes, waiting. "You cannot leave," the same voice from the mist echoed in her mind. The Bermuda Triangle is not just a place. It is a state of being. Once you step into it, you are bound to it forever. You may think you've escaped, but this world is not the same as the one you knew. The Triangle has claimed you. And now, you are one of us. Lily's chest tightened as the truth of the voice's words sank in. She understood now. The Bermuda Triangle wasn't a place that could be escaped. It was a prison that spanned across time and space, a dimension where the lost souls of the vanished were doomed to wander for eternity. And she, like them, was now a part of it. As the water around her began to swirl violently, the pyramid-like structure from the depths of the triangle reappeared, its glow brighter and more menacing than ever before. The figures advanced toward her, their forms flickering in and out of existence like fleeting shadows. "No," Lily whispered, her voice hoarse. "I won't be a part of this." But the figures simply smiled, their eyes gleaming with a knowledge older than time itself. "You already are." With those words, Lily felt herself drawn toward the pyramid. The very air seemed to stretch and warp around her, as if the Bermuda Triangle itself was alive, pulling her in. Her body felt weightless as she was absorbed into the light, and then, nothing. The world was silent again. But as the last traces of Lily Harper disappeared into the Bermuda Triangle, the mystery remained. The ocean calmed, the fog lifted, and the world continued on. To those who didn't know, it seemed like another forgotten tale, another ship lost at sea. But for those few who dared to question the secrets of the Bermuda Triangle, it was a warning. The Bermuda Triangle was not just a place. It was a prison, a living entity that bound those who dared to seek its secrets, trapping them in an endless cycle of torment. And as long as there were those who sought answers, the Bermuda Triangle would never let them go.